Been a while since a competitive game. What have you sort of been up to the last few weeks? You've obviously had the game against Exeter. What did you learn and what's it been like?
Yeah, I think that, obviously this period of the season is always a difficult one, not to manage sometimes. And I think that knowing what to do in this time is important. And also for us, it was a bit more of we needed a bit of a break, and then we were just focusing on the areas obviously that we need to brush up on. And we've worked hard. The boys have been really good, to be fair. I tried to get off site a bit as well. We had a training game then against the Crusaders up in Bristol. We've been off site doing some conditioning stuff as well, but ultimately getting down to some hard work really around areas of the game that we think we can improve.
You can't get away from results in the first block. What do you do? Do you park it? Season starts now. What's the sort of attitude that you do now for the rest of the campaign?
We definitely don't park it because we've got to take the learnings from it, and I think that we recognise we haven't been good enough. There's areas of a game that haven't been good enough. So it's about us now putting that right. I think that, it's weird in many ways. It was only halfway through the season with a late start, etc. So 9 games to go, 6 at home. So we've got plenty to play for. I think last year we obviously turned the season around a bit towards the end of the season, and not that we're trying to emulate what we did last year, but I think it's important that we get right into the season, because there's not too much points. There's plenty of points to be won in the league, and for us it's about performances and chasing up as high in the league as we can. Got a few boys back from injury, Sam Lowsey, etc. So it's great to have those boys back. Dan Jones back from injury as well, hasn't played a game this season, competitive game, so good to have him in the group because he's culturally very, very good for us, good leader for us in the group. Johnny McNichol's back, so I think that there's going to be it's good to have those guys back in the fold. Jarrod Taylor obviously been signed from Stormers and Western Province as well, so yeah, look, I think there's we're as relatively healthy. Obviously, number of boys away with Wales, etc. Was always going to be that, but yeah. So looking forward to this next block really to get stuck into it.
Talk about new signing then. What have you seen in it? Big mover now as well for the rest of the season and possibly beyond.
Yeah, it was an opportunity for us to bring him. We spoke to him to see if he was keen. Yeah, he's a high energy player, and he's the type of player, his robustness and his toughness really that we see. He's an up and up. He's a flanker which holds high energy and high moments in the game. So looking forward to seeing him play, to be honest with you. I think he's a player that, he's young, he's enthusiastic, and, he definitely add to the group of back rows we have here.
So just with him in, just a bit of housekeeping, Josh McLeod, we haven't spoken to you since perhaps the last game, and also Tame Plumtree's been out for a while. What's the latest on those two? Yeah,
so Josh will be out for the season. So, brutal news for him really, and us. I think that from the start of the season where he was injured, and he's a fantastic leader for us. He's captain of the team, culturally very important for us off the field, and I'm gutted for him that he's missing the rest of the season really. And but what I do know about him is he's had plenty of setbacks in the past, and he'll come back strong, and his influence around the group is huge. So I'm gutted for him. Tane isn't too far away, but like the next couple of games, I definitely think he would be available. Maybe probably not for Connacht, but beyond, potentially Benetton Glasgow game, he'll be available. So, it'll be a timely boost for us. So looking forward to seeing him back in action as well.
Tom Rogers just today, obviously for the chest thing, he's been with you for rehab, but it doesn't sound like it's short term.
No, it's not short term. It's not, it's obviously not a season thing, but, the next couple of games, I don't think he'll be available, but he wouldn't be too far off that, I don't think. With 9 games to go, I'd say he's going to play the majority of them, if not, 3/4 of them, I'd say.
Yeah, a couple of players back, Kemsley Mathias, Joe Roberts, they obviously haven't been playing, or Kemsley on the bench. What you would expect back from Wales this week?
Yeah, look, I think that... so look, obviously Kemsley and Joe haven't played any part yet, so I think that important for them boys to come back and play rugby. And the need of the national team is that they'll keep back who they feel like they want to keep. So we get that news on the Sunday, so we deal with it and get on with it there. I think that it's good to have those two boys back. they're good players for us and important players. So it'll be great to welcome them back into the group.
Will's a little bit light on tight heads at the moment. You work up the young tight heads and young in rugby, and Jarrod Taylor and Sam Wainwright. Are they fit for you, and how are they going for you at the moment?
No, they're both fit. Yeah. They're both fit and both going well. So I'm sure they've obviously both been in the international fold at one time or another over the last couple of seasons. So they're both going well for us, and good prospects for us for the future. Obviously, as you said, they're young in their rugby yet, but working hard, both of them, to make sure that they're getting better every day. Really.
Do you expect Munster? They'll obviously have a couple of Irish players back. They've got quite a depth in their squad. What do you think they'll bring you on Friday? Yeah,
look, they'll be physical. They'll bring that physical battle as they always do. I think that the DNA of the club is such that they'll be very competitive. A breakdown, they'll come after us in that area there. Obviously, they're physical in their carries, etc. And what we've seen of them over the last couple of seasons is that they want to move the ball, and their attacking shape is. They have an odd numbers around the ball and very intricate in what they're doing. So it'll be a big challenge for us. I think that the breakdown is the big thing for us. We'll have to be smart and accurate in that breakdown because, even looking at the Crusaders game a couple of weeks back, they really came after them and hassled and hurried them in that breakdown. So, we'll make sure we're prepped ready for that.
Well, the development's coming through. Obviously, this new league's coming through. Yeah. As somebody who's going to be at the top of the echelon and wants the players to come through, obviously having now, not Connecticut obviously, but having through Carmarthen and Llandudbury, is that a system that you've got to embrace now in terms of the way you develop players to go from that level to the Scarlets?
I think it's an important vehicle. I think it's a system that not only we have to embrace, that the two clubs involved as well, with in coordination with us, have to embrace. I think that understanding the pyramid and where how the vehicle, I suppose, for boys to go from playing semi-professional to professional standard or professional level is important, and I think the system has to work, that we're fully on board with developing players through that system, and that works both ways. I think that, and we've had the conversations with the clubs, and from our end we want that to work, and I'm sure it will, and I'm sure everyone's on board with that, because everybody wants to see our region do well, and if we can get a strong system in place, and I think obviously it's new. There's going to be areas that'll grow in time, obviously, but I think we as a region, and also with Carmarthen and Llandudbury, are fully on board and willing to work hard to make that work.
One for me. How much have you learned about yourself this season? It's been a long season. My last couple of seasons have been. A lot of people have been thrust into it. What have you learned about yourself and your squad over the last perhaps?
I think there's been a lot of reflection, obviously, in terms of. Where we need to go to make sure that we be as competitive as we can. I think there's been a lot of transition at the club, and I think there's been a transition in terms of shift, and the transition isn't finished yet, in all honesty. We've already spoken about senior players who have been here a long time and carry weight within the group, and that is going to happen inevitably over the next season or so, where we get transition there. So I think that, like I said before, I think it's about breeding the next sort of generation of Scarlets through, and I think that, and bringing that group through. I think there's certain guys like Joe Roberts, like Kemsley, who stepped up and become international rugby players, and it's up to them now to carry the mantle over the next couple of seasons. Costello, Ewan Lloyd, etc. These guys are going to be the future of the club. So I think it's about them understanding that as 21, 22-year-olds and driving that forward. And I think that so that's, I suppose, where there's been a bit of transition, and at times it's been, it's exciting in many ways because you're part of that, you're part of growing it. But like anything, I think you want it to happen tomorrow, and it doesn't, and I think that there's time and there needs a bit of patience. We have got a young group, it needs time and it needs patience and understanding where we want to get to, and that's not an overnight process. And we potentially sometimes need to take some hurt in achieving that, and that's tough to manage. And the expectation of this club, obviously, is that we're competitive and we want to be right at the top. But that will come. We just need to be patient with it and make sure that we're working hard to achieve that, because the goal is clear. We want Scarlets to be competitive. I watched the under-18s play last Wednesday night, and they were excellent. And I think there's a good group of kids coming through there, good group of boys coming through there. But, again, they're 18-year-olds, so they're going to take time to develop. But, from what I see from that group, it's a really exciting group and if you add those to the young boys we got, like the Costellos, the Joes, the Eddie James, the Archie Hughes, etc., Kemsleys, Harry Thomas in the under-20s playing really well, Max Page, there's talent here. We just need to make sure that, it's not a flick of a switch and then all of a sudden they're ready to go.
And were you pride, satisfaction at seeing 2 Scarlets number 10s wearing the jersey over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, no, it's been great. I think, 4 halfbacks in the national team is great for us. Not so great for us on fallow weeks like this, mine, but but it's great, to see that happen because, for someone like Costi who came back here and sometimes it's vindication of decisions that they made as well. So if we've got 2 homegrown 9s, so it's great for them to be part of this club. But, someone like Sam Costello who came back from Leicester and obviously Yos who come from Bristol, it's vindication about why they come. And, we want them to come back and represent Scarlets and they have done that amicably. They've been brilliant, for us, both of them. And, for them then to go on to play for Wales, I think it's a good story for people who want to come back. And, I think it's a good story for regional rugby, if I'm honest with you. Because there's a lot of talk about people going the other way. And we're clear to point that out every time someone goes across the bridge. But we don't really celebrate the other way. There's 2 guys there who I think who are really good examples of guys who come back from England to play regional rugby and they're playing in 6 Nations now. They wouldn't have happened if they'd have stayed where they were probably, or, less likely maybe. That might not be the case, but being back here has put them in the limelight. I put them right in the front of the selectors, so national selectors. So, so I think those stories need to be said as well, not just people who leave. And I think that the goal for us as regional rugby should definitely to bring as many Welsh guys back to Wales, because that makes us stronger, regional rugby stronger, which in turn will make the national squad stronger, I'm sure.
150th game for Dan Jones, you did mention earlier, just the achievement of that. Yeah,
it's fantastic. I think he's been obviously one that homegrown through the academy. I think the big thing around Dan is his contribution of not only on the field but off the field as well. Culturally he's very good for us, and he's a good man. He's competitive, and sometimes he gets over competitive, and the refs would say that definitely. But I think that he's a great guy, and I think that really looking forward to seeing him go, and he deserves it because touch wood, he's been really robust throughout his career. But this year he's obviously had that hamstring injury in pre-season and not played since. So so it's we've missed him, and within the group, and I think that whether he plays, whether he's not playing, whether he's on the bench, whether he's non-23, I think he always gives the same level of commitment to the players. So I think that as a team man, he's excellent. Mae'r seibiant wedi bod yn un, chwbod, o ddisio fe i fod yn onest, oedd lot o gemau wedi bod yn, lot o gemau wedi bod cyn i'r seibiant, a fi credu bod ni wedi bod yn gweithio'n galed ar elfennau'r gêm oedd eisiau gweithio arno. Ni hefyd wedi bod yn gweithio'n galed ar beth i ni'n neud ynglyn â'r patrymau ag ati o'r gêm. Mae'r boes wedi bod ni wedi bod ymarfer yn erbyn y Crusaders. Gaethon ni gêm gyfeillgar yn erbyn Exeter wrthos diwetha'n amlwg, ond mae wedi bod yn cyfnod digon da, ond cyfnod o ddisian yn ni paratoi am beth sydd ddod yn y wythnos nesaf. Maen nhw'n tîm gorfforol yn ysgar Messi, ar y llawr, maen nhw'n gorfforol iawn yn gystadleuol, felly bydd rhaid ni fod ar yn gorau yma i wneud siŵr bod ni'n ymdopi yn ni. Bydd ddim yn barod am digweddill tymor siomedig iawn i ni yn amlwg, ond mae fe'n chwaraewr arweinwr i ni, captain y tîm hefyd, ond mae fe'n berson arbennig a mae'n un golled mawr ni am weddill dymor. Bles i gael Jarrod mewn, mae chwaraewr talento, chwaraewr llawn egni, ni wedi bod yn edrych yna am spel fach yna bod Josh wedi cael anaf, mae'r amser o fynd o mewn yn un dda, felly edrych mlaen i weld yn wario wrth ysyn.